Welcome back to the 17 News at Sunrise podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
Good morning. Right now at 5, Vice President Mike Pence and Senator Kamala Harris go head-to-head in their only debate a week out from the next presidential debate. And we're learning more about how that's changing due to the president's COVID-19 diagnosis.
Meantime, the State Department of Health is now contact tracing after a governor's staff member and a state employee test positive for COVID-19.
Good morning at 5 a.m. Good to have you with us on this Thursday, October 8th. I'm Maddie Jansen alongside Alex Fisher. And even though yesterday we started the cool down, we're really going to feel it today, I think.
I think it's going to be a noticeable difference. And it is Thursday. It is Friday Junior, as I like to call it. And we're really looking forward to the weekend because we are going to see a significant cool down coming in just a matter of days. Moses Small is in this morning for Kevin Charette. Take a look at your forecast. Good morning, Moses.
Yes, and I think Friday Junior is a great way to refer to today. And we are getting our very first taste of fall. But first, unfortunately, we do have an air quality advisory here in Kern County. Still, the skies are slightly clearer than we've seen over the past couple weeks, but health experts say you should still watch out for that air, especially if you have a chronic condition like asthma or bronchitis. Bakersfield right now is sitting at 67 degrees, and you can see that's 6 miles of visibility. And so we are noticing that haze lifting just a bit for the moment. And right now we are in one of the chillier parts of the morning, but those temperatures are going to rebound all the way up to the mid-80s by the time we get to this afternoon and this evening. Tehachapi right now at 45 degrees, a whole 7 miles of visibility, so noticeable lifting of haze there. And we're going to see those temperatures rebound into the mid-70s later today.
All right, Moses, thank you so much. 17 News is your local election headquarters, and Vice President Mike Pence and Democratic Vice Presidential nominee Senator Kamala Harris took center stage in their first and only debate of the election.
The debate, though contentious at times, was much less of a sparring match than the debate we saw last week between President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden. Senator Harris and Vice President Pence went at it on a range of topics critical to the election, including law enforcement, trade with China, the military, and the economy.
Almost half of American renters are worried about whether they're going to be able to pay rent by the end of the month. This is where the economy is in America right now, and it is because of the catastrophe and the failure of leadership of this administration.
Lost the trade war with China. Joe Biden never fought it. Joe Biden has been a cheerleader for communist China over the last several decades. And again, Senator Harris, you're entitled to your opinion. You're not entitled to your own facts.
Meantime, the countdown continues to the next presidential debate scheduled for a week from today. The Debate Commission announcing this morning that debate will now be virtual due to concerns about President Trump's COVID-19 diagnosis. The candidates will participate via virtual call, while the moderator and town hall participants will all still meet at the same venue in Miami. Trump tweeted Tuesday that he's looking forward to the second presidential debate, even as he continues treatment.
Back here at home tonight, we're hosting a debate between two candidates running for mayor in Arvin. Councilmember Olivia Trujillo is running against incumbent Mayor Jose Girola. 17's Perla Shaheen and Telemundo's Jose Gaspar will moderate that debate. They'll ask questions the voters want answered, with topics covering COVID-19, marijuana sales, and water contamination. You can catch it live on our website, kget.com, at 7 p.m. The first half hour will be in English, and the second will be in Spanish.
5:04 is your time now. In your 17 Crime Watch, a man was killed and another man wounded in a shooting in Rosamond. The sheriff's office says the shooting happened at a home on Sequoia Lane near Fernwood Street just before 4:30 yesterday. When deputies got there, they found a man with obvious trauma, dead inside the home. Another man was taken to the hospital and later released. No word on what led up to the shooting. If you have information, you're asked to call KCSO at 861-3110, or you can remain anonymous by calling the Secret Witness Hotline at 322-4040.
We now know the names of the victims of two separate homicides that happened earlier this week. On Tuesday, a man was found dead on South M Street, lying at the curb near Chester Avenue. Yesterday, the coroner identified him as 71-year-old Jimmy Irwing. And while the coroner's news release says it was a homicide, we still do not exactly know what killed him. Irving had a chest wound, but it will take an autopsy to know how the man died. KCSO says if you know what happened, call them at 861-3110. And just a few hours later on Tuesday, gunfire killed a man near Bakersfield High School. Yesterday, he was identified as 26-year-old Ernesto Rodriguez Jr. Rodriguez was shot just across the street from campus on California Avenue. Bakersfield police say he was rushed to a hospital but did not survive. All we know about the suspect is that he's a man described as wearing dark clothes and a black mask. If you know something, you're asked to call the police department at 327-7111.
5:05 is your time now, and now to the latest on the pandemic here in Kern County. The Department of Health announced 65 new COVID-19 cases yesterday in Kern. More than 32,000 people tested positive since March. No new deaths were reported, but overall 387 lives have been lost in Kern. Right now there are more than 10,000 people isolating in their homes, while 51 patients are being treated in local hospitals. A reminder, you can get a free test at multiple locations across Kern County. Just go to this website, doineedacovid19test.com. You can also call 211 or go to kerncounty.com to schedule. 2 employees who work either in or alongside the governor's office staff have tested positive for COVID-19. 17's Ashley Zavala has the latest from Sacramento.
The State Department of Public Health is now contact tracing after a governor's staff member and a state employee who shares a workspace with governor's staff both tested positive for COVID-19. The governor says neither he nor anyone he routinely interacts with have been around the two.
They have both been isolated, and we are working back from that frame to make sure that everybody is appropriately tested, and anyone that's been in direct contact also goes through the protocols and procedures that we have put out so that we're not just preaching, but we're practicing what we preach.
Governor Newsom could not say Wednesday how many staff members were quarantining after possibly being exposed to the positive cases. A spokesman for the governor did not disclose the symptoms or their severity. Newsom noted telework is encouraged for staff and most meetings are remote. The governor said the last time he was tested was before a meeting with the president here weeks ago.
And I look forward to getting tested again.
The governor did not say when exactly he'll get that next test. Now back here at the state capitol, temperature checks are mandatory for anyone entering the building, but because of privacy concerns, the governor's office says they will not be disclosing exactly where the two worked. Reporting in Sacramento, Ashley Zavala, 17 News.
A local nonprofit is offering free food for those in need this weekend. The Blessing Corner Ministries will hand out free food up to 500 families on Sunday. The drive-up event is scheduled from 3:30 till 5:30 p.m. at their location on Union Avenue and 1st Street. Organizers say masks are required.
KGET Business Watch is brought to you by Grapevine MSP Technology Services, the Valley's leading IT service provider.
Welcome back to your 17 Business Watch. And Facebook announces yet another political ad policy ahead of the 2020 presidential election. The social media giant says it will stop running political ads here in the U.S. after polls close on November 3rd. Facebook says it is in an effort to reduce opportunities for confusion or abuse. The temporary ban is expected to last 1 week. The move comes after Facebook announced it would not allow new political ads to run starting 7 days prior to the election, and that it will ban ads seeking to delegitimize the election. McDonald's is adding baked goods to its permanent menu. The fast food giant is trying to revise its breakfast sales. Starting later this month, customers will be able to buy an apple fritter, blueberry muffin, or cinnamon roll at participating locations in the U.S. The McCafe bakery items will be available all day long. McDonald's breakfast sales have been under pressure as many consumers continue to work from home, disrupting their usual commutes and breakfast habits. Well, if you've been in a store recently and you've seen the mix of fall and holiday decorations already on display, it is by design. Retailers are hoping you buy early and often. The holidays could also provide a much-needed boost to the job market. Dan Shinneman explains.
Retailers preparing for the holiday season have more to think about than what's going to be on sale.
COVID clouds commerce. No matter how you look at it, it is making this holiday season incredibly uncertain.
What is certain, stores will be pushing everything from electronics to toys to fulfill those wish lists.
And so you have antsy consumers and aggressive retailers, and that mix creates more sales.
Online shopping is up 100% year over year, and experts say e-commerce will be king.
Just as retailers always do, they're going to save the biggest deals for Cyber Weekend.
Big box and department stores are still grappling with how to handle traditional doorbusters. Industry experts say some may go digital.
I do think you will see a lot of digital doorbusters this year. Whether or not it's to limit store traffic, I couldn't say, but you will definitely see it this year more than any other year.
And like years past, retailers are hiring. Tens of thousands of seasonal jobs available, from in-store to warehouse work.
And it's not just Amazon. It's going to be other retailers that look at where their customers are, that will see more people in the role of temperature takers, mask enforcers, curbside pickup workers.
While holiday shopping may look different this year, consumers will be taking advantage of deep discounts that are already popping up in their inbox. Dan Scheneman, NBC News.
The powerful roar of jet engines will echo across Kern County tomorrow afternoon as the Edwards Air Force Base Air Show takes off. This year, the show has a mix of online events happening this week, but tomorrow, the show will head to the sky.
So on Friday, we're going to overfly Tehachapi between about 11:15 in the morning and about 12:15 in the afternoon, and then Bakersfield from about 11:25 in the morning until about 12:25 in the afternoon. So you should see a variety of aircraft overflying at 1,000 feet above the ground in both those cities on that day.
Now, if you didn't already know, 1,000 feet is pretty low for aircraft to travel. That's going to be pretty neat to see. So again, it is happening tomorrow, and events are running all week, including webinars for students that, of course, are online. And for more information on how to look at those webinars, just head to our website.
Thanks, Moses. 5:31 now in national news this morning. President Trump back at work.
The president declares on Twitter he's cured of COVID-19 and heads back to the Oval Office to hit the pause button on stimulus talks. Tracy Potts has our story this morning from Washington.
Maddie and Alex, good morning. Good morning, everyone. With the president back in the Oval Office, the question this morning, is he still contagious? His doctor says he's had no fever for 4 days. He's had no symptoms for 24 hours. But the president has yet to complete the recommended 10 to 14-day quarantine for people with an active infection.
This was a blessing from God that I caught it.
President Trump out of isolation back in the Oval Office, praising the experimental antibody cocktail he's taking.
I'm going to make it free. You're not going to pay for it. It just made me better. Okay? I call that a cure. I think it's a tragedy that the president deals with COVID like it is something not to be worried about. When already 210,000 people have died. I think it's a travesty.
He's back in the West Wing with limited staff and protective gear, on the phone with Republicans about the coronavirus stimulus.
The stimulus negotiations are off. If the speaker is willing to look at those things on a piece-by-piece basis, then we're willing to look at it.
A piecemeal deal, $1,200 checks now, money for testing, schools, renters, and businesses on hold.
All he has ever wanted in the negotiation was to send out a check with his name printed on it.
Outside Washington, workers are suffering.
The partisanship is just totally ruining everything for us.
We've dipped into savings that are supposed to be for our kids. And I just don't know if there's recovery from that if nothing gets done.
Economic recovery delayed by a president who says he's cured of COVID 2 days after leaving the hospital. So today's day 3. We'll see if he shows up in the West Wing again. Meantime, Wall Street seems to like this idea of breaking up the stimulus. The Dow rebounded more than 500 points, its best day since July. I'm Tracy Potts, 17 News.
17 News is your local election headquarters, and that drama in Washington following the vice presidential debate last night in Salt Lake City. The debate was a far less combative and tense affair than last week's presidential version, but the two wasted little time getting right to it, trading shots on familiar issues like the economy, jobs, immigration, and racial injustice.
The President of the United States took a debate stage in front of 70 million Americans and refused to condemn white supremacists.
He condemned the KKK, neo-Nazis, and white supremacists, and has done so repeatedly.
As Harris and Pence now head back out to the campaign trail, the next debate for the men at the top of the ticket is scheduled for a week from today. The Debate Commission announcing this morning the debate will now be a virtual event due to concerns about President Trump's COVID-19 diagnosis in order to, quote, protect the health and safety of all involved. The president then immediately striking down that idea, saying, quote, no, I'm not going to waste my time on a virtual debate, during an interview on the Fox Business Channel this morning, going on to say he does not think he is contagious. And that is the subject of this morning's 17 interactive feedback poll. We're asking you this morning, should the president agree to a virtual debate? You can call or text us at 661-888-4617. Press 1 if yes, 2 if no. You can also text, tweet, email, or Facebook your comments to us, and we'll take a look at the results coming up a little bit later this morning here on Sunrise.
5:35 is your time now, and here at home we continue to cover pedestrian safety, and we now know the name of a man run over by a car after he laid down in a fast food drive-thru. It happened Sunday at McDonald's on the corner of Coffee and Hageman Roads in Northwest Bakersfield. 53-year-old Timothy Wayne Skaggs died after he was pinned underneath a car. The Bakersfield Police Department says the driver didn't see Skaggs. BPD says the accident happened after they received a call about a homeless man who was lying in the path of the driveway, refusing to leave the restaurant. The coroner also released the names of all 3 people killed in a crash Monday afternoon in Shafter. It happened on Poplar Avenue near Orange Street. The coroner says 27-year-old Juan Gabriel Luna Carranza and Ramon Ariola died when the driver of another car blew through a stop sign and hit their vehicle. That 19-year-old driver, Yolanda Gutierrez, also died. The Highway Patrol says it is not yet determined if drugs or alcohol were factors in the crash.
Your time now is 5:36, and now to the latest on our state's wildfires. With progress on the Creek Fire east of Fresno, that's still slow going as of this morning. The fire has burned more than 328,000 acres and is at 49% containment. The cause of this fire is still under investigation. Meantime, local students have reached out to help those affected by the Creek Fire. Students from Garces High School's Interact Club collected items for victims for about 2 weeks. Things like cleaning supplies, clothing, food, and more, all packed into a car to be brought to people who have been devastated by that blaze.
My family has a house up in Bass Lake, and we were afraid that our cabin was going to be hurt, but it wasn't. So I couldn't even imagine the families who their houses did get destroyed. And so I just wanted to do whatever I could to provide for those people.
The students worked with the East Bakersfield Rotary Club to make the delivery and drive possible.
KGT is teaming up with Adventist Health Bakersfield to highlight the many inspiring stories in our community. Lives are transformed every day by people in our community who care, taking action to better the lives of others. This morning, 17's Taylor Schaub introduces us to Austin Mitchell, a local elementary school student, proving it's never too late to get a head start on your dreams. Taylor?
Well, good morning, Maddie. We've all heard about the 30 Under 30 Club, an exclusive group of young leaders who are making waves across the country. And a 10-year-old Austin Mitchell, well, he's making a case to join that list before his 11th birthday.
Meet Austin Mitchell, the 10-year-old entrepreneur who'll make even the most successful adult feel like an underachiever.
It feels good to be 10 years old and have my own company. It's Austin today.
This preteen is simply every parent's dream.
I figured out how much money I spend on video games, and it's a lot. So instead of asking my mom, I decided just to start making my own money.
Mitchell spends his afternoons working at what looks like a swank executive suite, packaging orders for his online customers.
The way he thinks, the way he reacts, the way you would think he's been here before.
His top advisor and CMO, standing for Chief Mom Officer, Brittany Edwards.
It's surreal. It's surreal when you take a step back and look and see that your child is literally running a business, from packaging himself to shipping himself to dropping it off at the post office himself. And he has a full idea of the whole entire concept.
The pair launched Amorphe Expressions just prior to the pandemic, selling gizmos and gadgets like pop sockets and blue light glasses at wholesale prices.
The sky is the limit for him. Sometimes I'm like, who raised you?
But this boy wonder knows he wouldn't be anywhere without his mother.
I really appreciate how much she's helped me.
Austin's long-term goal? That's twofold. Make enough to support his growing video game collection and teach other kids across Kern County how to launch their own companies.
I didn't want to do this so I could be like someone else. I wanted to do this so I can help kids and show them how easy it is.
Now, Maddie and Alex, I gotta tell you, not only is this kid the brains of the operation, but he's got this infectious personality. So you have to know, once he does have employees in this business, he's gonna make a great leader. Reporting live, Taylor Schaub, 17 News.
Working in the spirit of the Golden Empire, this is 17 News at Sunrise.
The 17 News at Sunrise podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.